Okay, Dave. So he's just a little it's just a little recap from what we did yesterday, mate. Your swing on the left here is just still a little. I like the float loading. I like how we're going about doing that. But you can see as we're coming down, we're definitely loading it better, but we're still losing it around here, aren't we? Like from there to there, you can see you're still dumping it. Like after impact, you can see we've still got this kind of line with your left arm in the club, where and also look how straight. If I put a line in yellow. Look how kind of straight your left leg and your upper body is, right? Now, what we did here was I got you to set up to it and then just kind of feel as though your hands are moving forward, your belt buckle is moving forward and upwards, right? And then it gets you from that position to that position, right, where your hips are moved forward and up, but you've got this kind of tilting back sensation going on, right? Your head hasn't moved, right, but through your hips thrusting forward and your head staying in the same position, your upper body's going to start tilting back, right? And that's where you get this kind of extension from. So you can see the difference in the club and your left arm. That's the feeling we want through the shot. Whereas you can see you've got this one still going on where you're just dumping it. So I think a lot of it's got to do with like what we worked on with regards to side tilting and extending back. You can see through the shot here. You look at your left side of your body from like maybe your thigh and your hip up through your left lat all the way up to your left shoulder. Kind of, there's not much extension there, is there? Whereas you look at this, it's all kind of tilting away from the target, and also you're getting a bit more extension from it. Look how high this shoulder is, right, compared to this shoulder, right? So this is what I want to see more through the shot, right? And I think we've spent a few weeks now talking about lag and lag only, right? And I don't mind it if you want to go back thinking about float loading, right? To load it, once you've loaded it, it's kind of hanging on to it, right? But certainly coming down and through the shot, I know you're concerned about how much you move your hips laterally, right? But I think you've got to have the feeling of moving them laterally, but also moving them upwards as well, right? And if they move up, your body's going to kind of get this side tilt and this extension going on, and then I think it'll be easier for you to establish this kind of feeling through the shot, right? Rather than just kind of very short and narrow here in your left side. And you can see how we flipped it again, right? So I like this side tilting back. So if we can kind of float load going back and then through the shot, feel that, and notice how you're staying down on it as well. Look where your eyes are, right? Your eyes are still down here. Your eyes look sort of over here somewhere, right? And also high, right? Here you look as though your head's down more. Your eyes looking here where the ball would be. All right, bud. But I like the progress we're making. I like some of the shots you hit on the golf course when we played. If you can just, it's not just the lag, is it? Now it's like now we're looking for things which are actually detrimental to the lag, right? And I think this, where your body is there at impact, right? If we put a pro up, who do we like? We like Rob Rock, right? And you look at him through the shot, right? Well, you look at yes, he sits down into it, right? As he pushes down under his left foot, his left knee is moving laterally, right? But all of this side of his body now is kind of moving higher, and you can see there right at impact how everything's kind of extended through the shot, right? His left arm and the club are straight, his upper body started to tilt backwards a little bit. Look at this left side of his body there. We just don't see that in your move there, do we? Right? It's just very kind of compact here. So the extension is very important. You know, what you've got to try and think about to produce this extension, right, is that your hips have to move laterally and they also have to move upwards, right? Just think about your belt buckle doing that. You can see how his belt buckle. Well, let's do this. So there's a line. We'll put a line through, you know, maybe where his belt is, right? And then as he goes back, right hip's a little higher than your left hip, but then he sits down on it. But watch where his belt line goes. The cat, yeah, that's the. If you watch, it's a good job I'm paying attention, right? If you watch the camera angle up here, you can see the camera's moving as well. You see the camera's moving. You can actually see more of the sky up here, right, up there. So that just tells me the camera's moving, right? So we can't really pay attention to his belt line, right, because the camera's moving with it. But normally, right, if the camera was on a tripod or something, what you generally tend to find is their belt line is higher than that line through the shot. Let's find someone who let's have a look. So if you watch his belt coming through there, right? So you can see his belt buckle is on that yellow line, but as he comes through, like he pushes down, so it kind of goes underneath the yellow line, right? And he squats. But now watch his belt line. So his belt line now is actually up here, look. So that proves that it's moved up and it's moved laterally, right? If that makes sense. So it's kind of moved up this way as well as moving laterally. All right, but that's a good way of explaining it. If we put a line through your belt, right, when you come down, you can see how there's just it's kind of above it, but I would like to see it in this position. I would like to see it higher up here, kind of where Tiger is, right? And then it kind of comes up, but you've got to try and feel as though it's going up above that line earlier, so you can get this side bend. All right, buddy. Hope that makes sense. Any questions? Just use the message center below. Cheers, mate.